this is a complete waste of time, and here's why I'm okay with that. So first of all, let me be clear. I'm aware there's a DLC, like there's a second wave of DLC dropping, like sometime in the winter, I think is what was said. But either way, there's gonna be a bunch of new mons introduced, and UU's gonna look completely different, right? UU looked pre-home UU versus post-home UU and post DLC1 UU all look completely different. Maybe not so much the difference between like pre and post-home, but post-home and post-DLC are wildly different. So I mean, I guess because home didn't bring that much stuff, admittedly, but whatever. So yeah, DLC 2 UU is going to look vastly different, and it's going to take time for the metagame to develop. I've accepted that. However, one, I'm competing in a UU tournament, which, as of recording this, I have my match either tomorrow or the day after. I'm still trying to figure out scheduling because shit's getting fucked. But this will also, well, I mean, to that end, you use my bread and butter, so, I want to know the metagame as well as possible. But also, this will give me really good practice for how to really break down any metagame moving forward. I've never really gone through a tier and done this before, and I feel like doing this will give me a really good idea of what it's all about. This is definitely going to be split up into multiple parts. Competitive Pokemon is such a complex game that you're not going to get a great picture of the tier by just, looking at it really quick and just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, you might be able to win a couple games, but that's certainly not the high level. But yeah. So, there was something else I was going to say. Right, I've played a good amount of this UU tier. I've actually gotten the top 500 on a couple accounts. I think this one, yeah, is 1500. This is after some decay. I think I hit like 1530 or something. So I'm definitely, I wouldn't say this is like a super foreign tier to me, but it is definitely, I'm definitely not as familiar with it as I would like to be, especially for a tournament setting, right? I mean, yeah, there was like the draft league, but this is like the first competitive tournament I've ever done. Like, draft league's a fake format, all right? If I've said it once, I've said it a million times, and I don't know if I've said it once on this channel, but that's not here or there. So, yeah. So I'm kind of familiar with the tier. I know it's good. I've built a couple teams. I've done decently well with them. So now I kind of want to dig deeper. I want to gain just that extra layer of, understanding. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like it'd be super necessary, to win, my first match or whatever. But, as I get further in the tournament and playing better and better players, it would be helpful to know, hey, these trends are what players are going to be following, so I can build around that. I've already built, because it's a best of 3 tournament, I've already built 3 teams for my first match. But, I kind of, when preparing for threats, I would be like, oh, okay, this team, it's weak to Meowscarada, throw a Heatran on there or something. And it's since been moved up to OU just by usage, but, yeah, that's just an example. I mean, yeah, no, I just kind of want to, now that I have a lot more time to put into competitive Pokemon, coming out of my off season per se, I want to really just sink my teeth into UU, and some more tiers down the line. RU looks really fun right now. Ubers doesn't. I've played a bit of Ubers. It looks fine. But I'm waiting for the second wave of DLC so we can get Yveltal and Necrozma back. All right, the tier fucking needs it. We need the big three back. I want my over-centralized metagame. Yeah. So how this is gonna work is I have the viability list right here. Notice how it doesn't say viability ranking because, with how nascent the tier is, at least in this stage of the generation, they're kind of just like lumped like, high tier, good tier, decent tier, and then low tier. So that's kind of what it looks like. But yeah, I have this pulled up. It's like, okay, like I'm just going to go down the line. I see this, Amoonguss, all right, I look at the tier, I'm like, okay, what does this do? And I'm going to be specific about this because, like, okay, yeah, I know what Amoonguss does, right? But, specific interactions, like, okay, it can stop rain offense, for example, just off the top of my head, which, I mean, it probably can if you run a Spit F set. It doesn't look half bad right now. Deals with Enamorous, right? But, I mean, yeah, like, kind of what I was just saying just there is kind of how this is going to go. At least for the interactions part and the movesets part. I have all this stuff. This is my favorite thing ever. I discovered this earlier this year, the index of stats. I typically link it in the description of my videos. Like back when I did the team building series, I would put this down there. I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, no, this thing is awesome. Like, it gives you so much information. Like, oh, Iron Treads pairs with Tornadus. Like, okay, and then kind of look at, oh, why does it pair with Tornadus? What do they have in common that allows them to benefit each other and their team, right? And I just have the actual usage stats here. This is more so just to be like, okay, you know what? I don't really, I guess it doesn't, I don't have a super concrete reason as to why I have this open, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? And then I have the damage calc here. My second favorite, Smogon resource. Man, it's hard to pick. These are both really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to be getting back into competitive Pokemon. I enjoyed my time away. I enjoyed taking some time off. I actually played a little bit of OU because I got, like, if I would get bored, I'd just like make a quick OU team and then ladder up with it. Like, okay, the conclusion I've come to is OU is so boring. It is just hyper offense, left, right, and center. And when it's not hyper offense, it's like fucking. It's like Gliscor Spike's offense with Golden Go and King Gambit. And, I mean, there's talk of, Gliscor being the problem, that it should be banned. I still think Golden Go should be banned. I've been saying that since pre-home. But, no one listens to me, so. Yeah. Is there anything else I need to go over? I guess, I mean, I have an idea of what I want to do going into this, so I don't know if I guess it'll all be, I guess anything I haven't previously touched on will reveal itself as I do this. Yeah, I'm just gonna start. Okay, so Amoonguss, right? Just off the bat, Amoonguss, right? It's, you know, grass poison. I know what it does. I mean, it's not gonna be like, oh, I wonder what Amoonguss does in this metagame. It's like, okay, yeah, I know it's like a spore, toxic, you know, regenerator, pivot, whatever. But yeah, like what? Let's see how it like interacts with the metagame. How does it fit into the bigger picture here? I'm gonna have to wait. What? Wow. Okay. Okay, so these stats are from October, and I use those because, you know, I was gonna do it like last week, but it's like, well, usage stats are gonna come out, rises, drops are gonna happen. Might as well wait, right? But I forgot, like, it feels like it's been so long since where is it? Since not Aloe, Garchomp. Yeah, Garchomp got banned. Like, wow. I mean, I guess because it was in the tier for like 2 days, but I mean, I'm glad it's banned, right? I don't think anyone was calling it balanced. Yeah, I mean, Como, Garganacl, they all got banned. Aloe, Alomomola, and Heatran, they moved up to OU, again, just by usage, so. Let me Control F. Amoonguss. Oh my gosh. If I had my soundboard up right now, or my fake soundboard, then where the fuck? Okay. Wait. Okay, so Amoonguss looks to be pretty low in usage, all things considered. Where is it? Yeah, okay, here it is. Number 14. Yeah. Okay, so it's about like 10% usage. Well, raw 9.4, real 9.7. And if you don't know what that is, I'm not explaining it. Yeah, so it gets a decent amount of usage, looks like. I guess once you factor out, you know, Heatran, Aloe, Garchomp, Garg, where's Como? That's actually really funny. That Como is at 4%, like 2% or whatever, because wait, am I tripping? I am. Okay. Yeah. My brain's shutting off right now. Yeah, just because Como was in the tier for such little amount of time that it never got a chance to be used. Well, I guess that begs the question of where's Garchomp? Yeah, Garchomp has got 10% usage, or 10%, 15% usage. Fucking hell, man. I'm just gonna go by this number. It's the first number I see. That's the stat we're gonna go off, because I mean it's that's how they're ordered. It's generally most indicative of Pokemon's use. I mean, I could also look at the real percent, but that doesn't always align with usage statistics. Not that usage statistics mean anything. It's just a good idea of what I'll see, right? But yeah. Getting back on my train of thought here. Amoonguss, 12% usage. So, not as high as I thought it would be, right? I mean, you know, incredible Meowscarada answer, incredible Sandy Shocks answer. Even for, like, Ozzy that doesn't run Ice Spinner, I mean, you know, sometimes you'll see, you know, Belly Drum, Liquidation, Play Rough, Belly Drum, Play Rough, Aqua Jet, one of Liquidation Superpower. Sometimes you see those sets that go around. Yeah, so why? I guess because Torn runs the tier, as has been claimed by many a player. So pausing, I'm doing. I don't really care. Blah blah blah. This is for me to document my progress. Whatever bullshit I always say. But yeah. So Among Us. Who the fuck is running Effect Spore? Viability ceiling 89. Basically that's just the player with the highest GXE who used Among Us. What GXE did they have? I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So yeah, 89 viability ceiling, very good even at the high level. It's what we can infer from that. So here's the good stuff. So Rocky Helmet, I can expect to see a lot of the time. One thing I do wish the index of stats had, I wish it was like, oh, okay, you know, Rocky Helmet is seen on, or like eject button is seen with like Spore, Clear Smog, Foul Play, Synthesis, for example. Probably not with Synthesis, but you get the idea. I do wish it gave me that. Surprising lack of leftovers. Okay. Or Black Sludge. I mean, if you're using Black Sludge, that's just a poor decision. I mean, because there's not really that many Trick Mons in the tier, right? I guess there's Meowscarada and Rotom. And nothing else? I mean, I don't know. Whatever. So, yeah. Rocky Helmet. Okay, so Rocky Helmet's going to be the one that you see most often, which is really interesting because, is there a difference between, yeah, the shape. ET Flower Trick. That's not contact. So, I mean, if you're trying to really stick it to Meowscarada, you know, if it clicks Flower Trick, it's not going to contact you, and if it clicks Knockoff, well, you don't have your Rocky Helmet anymore. Right. Cover Cloak's not see it anymore, I imagine, because of Garg, right? I don't think there's anything else that would really make it run Cover Cloak. Heatran, no. Because it wouldn't switch it into it anyway. And Cover Cloak doesn't block Magna Storm. And Heatran's gone. So, so much for that. Ogie Dogie. That's the poison shit that everyone says is really good. Well, I mean, it can't poison Among Us. Yeah, okay, so you have no reason to really run Covert Cloak. Got it. So I guess, you know, the items that you're really going to be seeing are like Rocky Helmet, Heavy Duty Boots, Leftovers, right? Yeah, so it gets put on Rain, I guess. Yeah, so if you're okay, that makes sense. So if I'm building a team and it's like, okay, I need a good Rain answer, well, that also inherently means that I need a good Amoonguss answer. Yeah. Also looks like it, I guess it does, so it facilitates hazard support by the looks of it, you know, Treads, Garg when it was allowed, Sandy Shocks. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so if you see it paired with, like, you know, Sandy Shocks, then it might be... Then it might be dual hazard lead kind of thing. which is pretty standard, but dual hazards isn't always seen for a few reasons. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm doing this a little bit out of order. It's fine. So the EV spread, so it looks to be physically defensive a lot of the time. Well, no, more like mixed defenses. You can see, you know, 252, 172, 84. But then there's max defense, almost max defense. There's another mixed defense, and that's just 50% of it. So it looks like it tends to lean towards either physically defensive or mixed defensive. So, okay. Okay, cool. I'm writing this down. I'm writing a lot of this down, so lots of variation. Cool. It also looks like it gets paired with Weavile. Yeah, because it absorbs the fighting type attacks that Weavile would want to take. I guess it doesn't really resist fire, but I guess it's good for, I guess, like putting checks to sleep or whatever. Yeah. And, like, let's say I have like Scarf Meowscarada that's healthy enough to live a Weavile Ice Shard. I bring that in. Well, you know what? There's also an Amoonguss that Weavile can switch into, so that makes sense. And then it also pairs with my mortal enemy, not Sandy Shocks, but instead Quaquaval, the duck, the gay duck, that is. I guess because, you know, it's typically seen on rain teams. Actually, how often is it used with rain? Not super often, actually. Okay. That's interesting, but I mean, we'll get there, right? Let's keep going down here. Okay. Yeah, so moves. Let's see. Moves. Spore, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Foul Play. So that's all standard. Clear Smog. I actually like Clear Smog as an option. Okay, let's see. Spore. So you see that a lot more than Toxic. I get, because I mean, if you're using Spore Amoonguss, then it's probably you're probably trying to help out you know your offensive pieces, so that they have opportunities to come in and set up. And if you put those checks to sleep, then hey, suddenly my I don't know, Swords Dance Iron Hands looks good, right? So I mean that makes sense. Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain. It does run Grass Knot sometimes. I guess for Iron Treads, but I mean, even then it packs Ice Spinner a lot of the time. I know that much. I'm gonna have to control off Amoonguss again, but yeah, Ice Spinner 35%. Yeah. Not a lot of synthesis or enough. Let's see. So we see foul play about 50% of the time. That makes sense. Then Sludge Bomb is more common than Giga Drain. Or than Clear Smog, rather. Which I don't know if I entirely agree with. I mean, just, you know, I would rather Amoonguss be able to shut down. I would rather it be able to shut down those kinds of setup sweepers. You know, if you're using Spore, then you might as well run Clear Smog, right? You know, you put it to sleep, it tries to burn, like, I mean, say you can't touch it, right? It stays in, tries to burn sleep turns. Oh, well, there goes its stat boosts. Yeah. You know, like on an Enamorous, for example. There's no checks and counters listed. I know a lot of these have checks and counters things, right? Yeah. I guess that's more so for the Pokemon seen more often. Okay, well, it's here for some of them. Yeah. Let me look at this. Counters. Yeah, a lot of these are just kind of blank. Wait. Mandibuzz. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the issue is a lot of the counters, like the checks and counters that are being listed, are Pokemon that have been banned. Yeah, okay. Well, that sucks. But I'm okay with this. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Any other, like, interactions to kind of look at? It's good at stopping Ogie Dogie, right? Let's see. Ogie Dogie. Rotom Wash. Shocks. Yeah, I mean it's S tier for a reason. Then like other rain teams that, you know, want to use stuff like I don't know, like Thunderous, for example. You know, even if it wants to beat you, has Terra. You know, it beats Azu very cleanly. Crawdaunt, right? Just that kind of stuff. You know, going into this, I thought Rain was a lot better than it is, but kind of looking at the tier, it doesn't look like there's a. It just looks like there's not a lot of good abusers. I'm not denying there's Pokemon that function well in Rain, but it just seems kind of limited in options. So that's a very interesting observation. Um, okay. Actually, no, I'll do that later. Okay, cool. So yeah, so it just looks like the general idea with Amoonguss is, you know, generally a physically defensive pivot um, that fits on more like bulky offense kind of teams. I guess you could fit it on stall, but you know, you'd probably want something like Clodsire for the job. Speaking of, where is Clodsire on here? Clodsire is in the decent tier. I don't know about that one. Um, whatever. Yeah, yeah. So you can help it beat like, okay. So you slot it on to help beat offensive cores that try and like switch around. Just make use of its good typing. I guess it doesn't need a ton of SPDF, right? Just based on what it needs to counter. You know, it needs the FizzDef for Meowscarada, Okidogi, Iron Hands if you really want to use it for that. So, okay. That makes sense. So Galarian Zapdos. So this thing, I think, is pretty underrated. It has a really nasty stab combo. You know, there's not a lot that switches into it. I guess it's just kind of hard to support because it looks like you kind of get washed by stall if you're using it. But I mean, hey, that's why you would pair it with stuff like Heatran, or I guess for a more relevant example, Hoopa Unbound, because that mon is awesome and beats stall like nothing else. Fire Spin Moltres, because this is actually RBY and not Scarlet Violet. But yeah. So where's Galarian Zapdos? It's number 25. So it has a 7.4% usage rate. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, I believe it, but let's find out why. Let's see. Here it is. Yeah, so also a good viability ceiling, right? I mean, the statistic doesn't really matter that much. It's just, you know, a good idea of, I guess, how much you're going to see it in high-level play. That's also what the real percentage is for, but so for the item slot, God, this is where I really wish it's like, okay, you see choice band on you know, these kinds of teams or whatever. I don't know. I guess I'm being a choosing beggar. I don't really care that I am. But it just would be nice to be like to have that information. But hey, that's why you play games, to find out more about the metagame, right? So typically see Citrus Berry. Who the fuck is running that? I remember seeing a like in like super low ladder. This one like bulk up Zapdos boots or something. Yeah. So I mean, so it's usually Scarf. 75% of the time. Oh wait, no. I thought that I misread that as 74%. Yeah, so I guess if you pair it with Meowscarada, then it's like, well, okay, if I'm using Scarf Meowscarada, right? Because I know that's the common set. So you'd probably use Banded Gyarados in that case. Band with Meow, and I'm gonna put a question mark next to that. Because I mean, I don't know for sure. Again, that'll just come with time, right? And as I keep going through this process, I'm gonna like analyze high level, tournament replays. I know the Champions League is going on right now. I could probably find some, some smaller UU tournaments to look at. Yeah, so Eevee is... I mean, for the offensive Pokemon, this one won't matter as much, because, right, they're going to want the speed and the attack that benefits them the most, right? But, yeah. So Max... That's... What is that? 81 plus 4, so 85% Jolly. And then so that, like 10% Adamant, 10%. So I'm thinking... I'm thinking that's more for banded sets, because it hits it hits 100, and if you go Adamant, you hit 299, so anything slower than base 87 you can outrun. So yeah, you're still outrunning the Rotom appliances, you're outrunning Cleavor, Quaquaval. So if you really want the power, then I guess that would be an option. God, Bombardier's PU, that's insane. Yeah. So that might be to just milk as much as you can out of your Choice Band, Wall Breaker kind of Mon. And, if you go Scarf, you want this speed to, be able to do something about the likes of Hydreigon. That often runs Scarf as far as I know. Also helps against, what else? Not much, honestly. I guess it's just like, oh, I don't need the speed control as much on this banded Mon. I can afford to run Adamant. Now, who's to say if that's a super educated decision being made by, revered players, right? But yeah. So I didn't think I'd be saying this. there's a chance I'm being too nitpicky about this, too hung up, if you will. Okay, I got email about some stupid bullshit that I'm not gonna read. But yeah. Either way, max, you don't need to think too hard about the EVs. That's really interesting. Actually, no, it's not. Of course you would see. Of course you would see Thunderous. Of course you would see close combat over Thunderous Kick. It gets Stomping Tantrum though, doesn't it? Stomping Tantrum. What else does it get in the way of coverage? Oh, fucking nothing. It gets Trailblaze. Maybe that's what the bulk upset was. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Okay, so... yeah. So it runs... stabs. Obviously, I don't need to write that down. CC is more common than Thunderous Kick. I mean, obviously, right? But hey, it's worth jotting down. Knock is usually coverage option last U-turn. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty one-dimensional Pokemon. So it's paired with, let's see, Heatran, well that's gone. Rotom Wash, that's good to know. So they form a pretty good, let's see, here it is. So the resistances fighting and flying has, you know, the electric types, the flying types, you know, the ghost types, all of that. Actually, let me reopen that. I'll keep this around. All of that, you know, electric and water hits up pretty well. And you know, the other way around, right? This is all resisted by, you know, grass and dragon types. So yeah, you see it because, yeah, I don't imagine there's a Pokemon that resists all of it, right? Yeah. So that's cool. Rotom Wash. Yeah. So they're just forming that really nice Volt Turn Core, but also just, you know, there's very little that takes both of them on, and they help bring each other in very easily. This is what it looks like. So that's cool. Pairs with Iron Treads. I guess because Iron Treads is just good. That's probably all it is. I mean, it's far and away the most used Pokemon. I mean, for good reason. You know? So, it also pairs with Mandibuzz. And, pairs with Hydreigon. Okay. Yeah, to help beat the maybe the bulkier ghost types like Skeledirge and Sinistra. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Um. Meowscarada. I guess that's worth writing down. It's like, oh, I need a Meowscarada check. Well, let's hope I'm not too weak to Gyarados, right? Yeah. Oh, it pairs with Garchomp. I better make sure my team's not weak to Garchomp. Yeah. So those, I guess, those are the teammates you're typically gonna see it with. Right. So this is gonna help do what? I guess we can just go here. It helps, I guess, it helps beat a lot of offensive cores, now that I think about it. You know, outruns Scarf Hydreigon, deals with hands after some chip, probably. Let's actually look at that. This will be the first of many damage calc visits. Iron Hands. SD. Okay, well. Doesn't deal with Iron Hands. Got it. Where is it? Yeah, that is nothing. Oh my god. Yeah. Wow. That does nothing. Alright. I guess it also helps beat Meowscarada. Hold on. Wait, before that, I want to see. Choice Band. Oh yeah, that's 2-hit KOing after lefties. But yeah, Meowscarada. Choice Scarf. We'll play rough. Okay, so, okay. I didn't know if the damage calc took Protean into account when running these. Okay, it does. I don't need to change. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, cool. Because I realized I was changing its Terra type and not its actual. Okay, cool. So, yeah, play rough. It can kill. How often does it run that? Really? A lot of the time. I see. Well, okay, I was under, well, this is why I'm glad I'm doing this, because I was under the impression that a lot of the time they don't run play rough and they opt for something like Trick, but no, Trick is clearly a more niche option. Oh, I missed it. Yeah. Okay. So this helps beat offensive cores. Let me think about it this way. You put Galarian Moltres on, or Galarian Zapdos on your team if you want to beat what? Arcanine, or Harcanine, as the cool kids call it. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this music. It's because I'm wearing headphones right now and I don't like it playing in my ears. I'm just gonna take these out for a bit. Let's feels so much better. Um, yeah. So I'd want it to be chestnut. Well, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised to see it put into the decent tier because I think it's great. You know, getting the recognition it deserves, at least in my opinion. Um, so yeah, it looks like it just really helps break down offensive cores. And it makes sense, right? That's what a lot of Scarfers are good for, you know, really getting the jump on them and, you know, allowing the player to get a step closer to coming in with their, you know, late game whatever and just winning, right? Yeah. Okay. I think that's about as much as I can observe for Gyapdos. You know, again, just based on stats alone. I mean, I'm gonna reiterate. You know, these stats, of course, don't paint a full picture of the Pokemon's place in the metagame. I'll be doing replay reviews, blah blah blah, whatever. Next up is not Heatran because that moved to OU. I actually do want to see. I'm gonna duplicate this. Oh wait, no. This is the one. Yeah, this is the one I need to duplicate. OU. Where is Heatran? Yeah, it got a 5.8% usage. How about that? That's cool. Alright. Hydreigon. I'm Hydreigon. There it is. Let me make sure I spell this correctly because I'm a spelling Nazi. Hydreigon. Okay. So, just looking at the tier and like having built teams with this before, this mon is really fucking cool. Like, you can go Scarf and outrun so much stuff, or you can go Specs and blow everything up. Like, it's got an awesome move pool, you know. Hydreigon is just the best. It's so cool. So, why does it have 9.1% usage rate? Holy moly. What's going on with that? Why do a lot of these offensive Pokemon get a lower usage? I guess one, because Garchomp, Heatran, Guard, whatever the fuck. But, huh. That's a really interesting pattern I'm noticing. I guess I'll find out, you know, as time goes on, you know, why you see these defensive Pokemon in UU more. Maybe not defensive is the right word, but Pokemon more that lend themselves better to a utility role, like, you know, Iron Treads, Therian Tornadus, you know, Heatran, right? Even Rotom Wash, depending on what its more common sets are, I'm not too sure. Like, I honestly couldn't tell you if Spidef or Scarf is more common, but hey, that's why I'm doing this, right? Yeah, so Hydreigon, 9.1% usage. I mean, of course, usage usage rates and viability are very seldom directly related. And even when they are directly related, there's a lot more nuance. So they're like never directly related. But I'm just surprised it's not used as much. Okay. So yeah. Item. Alright. Surprisingly, the most common item is leftovers. Also, I just realized that this um what the fuck was I gonna say? Wait, what? I had like 5 things I wanted to say and they all just fell out of my head. uh I'm losing it. I got like no sleep last night, so that explains why I'm functioning at such a low level today. Um, right, I remember. Well, one of the things I was gonna say, this doesn't tell you what the Terra types commonly are. That's really, really strange. I should have a right to know. It's fine though. I wonder if there's something like server side that makes it hard to tell what people's Terra types are? Maybe. So, okay. Yeah, surprisingly... I thought someone just came in my house, okay. Surprisingly, leftovers is the most common item. And you see it at 36.471%, and you go down here and you see Nasty Plot at almost the same percentage. So that tells me leftovers sets aren't the most common, it's Nasty Plot sets that are the most common. And you know, those would probably get paired with Substitute, for example, right? Sub Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse Draco, Terra Poison, boom. But it also looks like you can run like a Stealth Rock set with U-Turn, for example. But yeah, I'll get into that later. Lefties. Lefties most common. Sub Nasty Plot. So Choice Scarf is more common than Choice Specs. What a surprise! People want to be able to outrun stuff. And then from there, it's just the more niche options like Focus Ash, Choppleberry, Life Orb, whatever. I actually don't hate the idea of Life Orb Hydreigon, but I would like it more if Hydreigon were